Teacher talking sports, what it does, what it do, how we living. The Athletics' Seth Parnow last week did his NBA player tiers for 2023, something he's been doing annually for the past few years. So basically, he rates the players into 5 different tiers. Tiers 1 through 4 have sub tiers as well. All in all, he ranks 125 players. So Teacher and me says, boop, 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 that is 4 and 1/6 players per team on average. Of course, not every team has 4, but every team is represented. So in this video, instead of going over the tiers, I will go over the tiers, but we're going to look at which teams were most represented and least represented in order from least to greatest. So it's the Athletics Beyond a Paywall. I'm not going to share the article, but some things he says are the tiers are about championship equity for 2024. These tiers are largely contract agnostic. Rising sophomores get a slight player development bump. Role matters. Positional skill set matters. Players are not ranked within the sub-tiers. The tiers are intentionally sticky. Advanced metrics were the starting point, but not the end of the analysis. So he is big into the advanced metrics. Some guys may surprise you where they're ranked. Some guys, seem to be ranked accordingly where a lot of people believe they should. But let's get into it. So we will start with the teams with the least. So you see in parentheses the tier the player was placed in. So 5A being the lowest tier. There's only one sub-tier in tier 5. While tier 1A being the highest tier. You see just one team had only one representative. That is the Washington Wizards, and Jordan Poole was part of the lowest tier. There are a couple other Wizards I thought maybe could have been on here. I'll name a couple in my eyes, a few snubs at the end of the video. Pistons and Spurs only had 2 representatives. He mentioned Victor Wembanyama was the first rookie that he put in the rankings. It's normally something he wouldn't do, but he puts Wembanyama 4B right away. I'm expecting Cade Cunningham to be much better than a 4C player, so let's hope he stays healthy. The teams with 3 include the Hornets, Mavericks, Magic, Trailblazers, and Jazz. Keep in mind, for now, I have Damian Lillard on the Trailblazers, James Harden on the 76ers when we get to them, and PJ Washington is a restricted free agent, unsigned. Odds are he's going to go back to Charlotte, so I do have him listed with Charlotte. So Kyrie and Luka still not looking like they have much help as the only guys. The only guy who made the tiers besides them two, Grant Williams, a 5A. You see Luka made the second tier 1B. There are 3 guys that made 1A. Let's get into the teams that have 4 representatives. So let's start. We got the Nets, Bulls, Rockets, Pacers, Lakers, Grizzlies, Heat, Bucks, Thunder, and Suns, all with 4 representatives. You see the Greek freak Giannis, one of the 3 1As on here. Kevin Durant, one of the 3 1Bs. So they both make tier 1. All in all, just 6 players making tier 1. You see LeBron James, not one of the 6 tier 1 players, and I don't have a problem with that. If I were to rank players right now, he'd probably be between 10 and 15. So he's borderline 2B to me, which is where they put Anthony Davis. See the Rockets, 4 representatives. Of course, one of the league's worst teams last season, but none of them are relatively high. Van Vliet, the highest guy, at 4B. Zach LaVine may surprise you being that low at 4C. Of course, not a very good defensive player. Really started out last season slow before improving as the year went on. See Devin Booker just missing out on tier 1. At tier 2A. Let's take a look at the teams with 5 representatives. So we got the Hawks, Cavaliers, Nuggets, Clippers, Timberwolves, Knicks, 76ers, Kings, and Raptors. There is another tier 1A player right there, the Joker, Nikola Jokic, of course. He's a tier 1A player. And Joel Embiid, reigning MVP, due to he's only stayed healthy, played in every postseason game in one series in his career, and that's part of the reason they have him as a 1B. You see the Knicks, another guy who tough to rank, Julius Randle, 4B. Two-time All-Star, two-time All-NBA in the past 3 seasons. Of course, I am a diehard Knicks fan, and I know he's had his struggles in the postseason. I might have put him in 4A, but he definitely needs to show something in the playoffs. And Jalen Brunson seems a little low to me at 3B. Yes, they lost the Heat, but he was really everything. He was the offense for the Knicks in that series. I'd put him in even ground with Donovan Mitchell, who's also a 3A. Then let's get to the top teams. There are just 3 teams with at least 6. The Pelicans with 6. You see Zion Williamson, 3B. So he's the highest of the 6. Got a 3 5As. Brandon Ingram, a 4A. Another tough guy to rank. Probably can't be the best player on a good team, but he's an all-star level caliber guy. The Celtics with 7, adding Kristaps Porzingis to the list. Tatum also just missing out on on tier 1, and the Golden State Warriors and Celtics again with 7. Steph Curry, one of the 3 1As. See Chris Paul put into 4A. So there you have it, least to most representatives by teams in the Athletics tier rankings. I also meant to mention, so tier 5A consisted of players 81 to 125, 4C 67 to 80, 4B 55 to 66, 4A 40 to 54, 3C 34 to 39, 3B 25 to 33, 3A 19 to 24, 2C 15 to 18, 2B 12 to 14, 2A 7 to 11, 1B 4 to 6, and 1A 3 to 1. Some guys I was surprised didn't make it. Arguably the 2 best offensive rebounders in the game, Mitchell Robinson and Steven Adams. So much value in providing extra possessions for their team. I mentioned the Wizards were the only team without 1. I believe Kyle Kuzma may have been the highest scorer. Not to be included in the tiers. Yes, he's far from a perfect player, inefficient at times. And also Tyus Jones, Mr. Assist turnover ratio, always the league leader amongst the league leaders. Say what you want about Miles Bridges. What he did was terrible. Sat out all last year. Will be suspended to start this upcoming season. Probably one of the top 125 players. Wendell Carter Jr., very good big man for the Magic. Devin Vassell, good shooter for the Spurs. Josh Hart, man, the Knicks season really started turning around after they acquired him. Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, always putting up numbers. Puts up numbers like Draymond kind of in a way, almost like a poor man's Draymond. Jordan Clarkson, first time really starting last season, and had one of his best shooting seasons with Utah. And Bobby Portis, man, how is Bobby Portis not on here? One of the key reserves in the NBA over the past 3 or 4 seasons with Milwaukee. So those are some of my biggest snubs from the tiers. And if you couldn't figure it out, tier 1A was Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And tier 1B, let me find it. Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, and Joel Embiid. Those are the 6 guys that are in tier 1. So what are your thoughts? Do you think those are the 6 best players in the NBA that were included in tier 1 by Seth Parnow? What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let me know in the comments. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe. Like the video, share the video, hit the bell for notifications.